Today we're going to be talking about some of the best and worst advice on TikTok when it comes to getting tattooed, picking tattoos, or doing tattoos. Look, be very careful the people you're listening to on these platforms. A lot of them don't actually know what they're talking about, and yeah, so let's jump into it. Okay, first one.
This is how I get my tattoos to heal like I'm Deadpool every single time. I don't even know how many tattoos I have at this point. Ballpark, maybe over 50. But every time I get a tattoo, I do the same two simple things. Two things in my artillery. Bar of unscented soap used for cleaning your tattoos because tattoos are open wounds, and if you get your tattoo infected, you're going to be pissed. Bottle of liquid magic. I will never get a tattoo without having this on deck. Just 2 steps.
Okay, so obviously this is an advertisement for Mad Rabbit. Look, I don't particularly like most ointment companies. There's probably only 1 or 2 I would recommend for people, but that's mostly because I think they're virtually all the same. And I think that I don't particularly like the practices in which these companies use to make money. I don't have anything against this dude or anyone using TikTok to sell products for other companies. But I will say that most products you see from things like Mad Rabbit or other companies like this, a lot of the crap you don't need. Spend your money on tattoos. You don't need to spend very much money on the ointments or the numbing creams or these like brandy type, just relax with it. Almost every client I have over cares for their tattoo. Now I know that might sound crazy, but your body knows how to take care of a tattoo. It's a very familiar thing your body is doing. It's just like any other scab or wound or whatever. Your body's gonna naturally heal that area. I don't think you need 10 different ointments to apply it on a fresh tattoo. Look, if you wanna know my procedure for healing tattoos, if it's a big tattoo, keep it clean. That's really it. You can use ointments, you can use lotions. I'm okay with it. Got no problem with it. But the only real thing you should be doing, keeping it clean. Which is fine because that's how we started it, but then you need this smoothing, healing, I don't know. A bunch of different crap. Just keep the damn tattoo clean, keep it out of the sun, stay out of the oceans, stay out of pools. If it needs ointment or if you like using ointment, do those things. But you don't need to go crazy with it. Tiny, tiny amounts of whatever you're using. Okay? Okay? Let's go on.
Let your tattoo breathe. I've seen it way too many times where you got...
Amen. This is from I hope a tattooer. I'm gonna guess a tattooer. It looks like he's in a tattoo studio.
A fresh tattoo, and then you start to put a bunch of ointment all over it. It's way too much. You want your skin to breathe so that way it can heal properly. Don't put on too much. The best way to put some on is put a thin layer, grab a fresh paper towel, and dab it off, and that'll give you the best result.
My boy, he understands. Most of us tattooers understand that people are over caring for tattoos. We see people goop shit on, and then they break out or they have a reaction to the ointment and they're like, I don't know what happened here. And it's like, well, yeah, you gooped crap on for the last 15 days. And of course you heard this from some advertisement from some other TikToker because they're just trying to sell you a product. They don't really understand how the healing process works. Maybe some of them understand how the healing process works for them, but most of them don't understand anything more than whatever bullshit they're hearing from an ointment company. So big ups to this dude. He knows how to heal a tattoo, or at least what not to do.
Put it in a square, it'll look good big. So instead of drawing those little squares every time, you can go on Amazon and buy one of these notebooks that are called storyboard notebooks.
Okay, so we're going to be going in between people teaching you how to heal tattoos, between people teaching you how to tattoo, how to draw, how to pick images. I'm just going to be going through them. But there is a problem on these platforms of people who don't actually understand what they're saying things. You see tattooers who don't really know what they're talking about, teaching other people how to do tattoos. You see tattoo influencers teaching people how to do whatever. Make sure the information you're getting is from someone you really respect and who is a tattooer. They know best. And unfortunately, most of them aren't making content on the internet. So you see, most tattoo influencers don't actually know what they're talking about. Look, I enjoy watching movies. I've watched tons and tons of movies. I have absolutely no fucking clue how to direct a movie. And most of these people love tattoos and I'm there for it. Make content, it's cool. I have no problem with it. But they don't actually know how to do a tattoo, heal a tattoo, what's actually working for most people. They're just criticizing things, and that's cool. I got no problem with that. But I'm gonna criticize the criticizers. I don't know. Okay, let's talk about this guy talking about tattoos.
You have a perfect little grid every time, and you can put all your little tattoo designs in here. Build a collection. Here's a quick tip for tattoo design. This tip was influenced by Fireside Tattoo Network. Go check them out and go watch their YouTubes. A great way to design tattoos is to make sure that they fit in a 1" by 1" square. If it looks good in a square, it'll look good big. So instead of drawing these little squares every time.
Okay, I've been designing tattoos for a long time. I don't think that that's a very good way of designing most tattoos. Some tattoos, sure, if it's gonna be a square image or a round image, maybe this idea works. What if it's like rectangle? What if it's a triangle? I don't see much wisdom in this type of advice. It's just saying something to say something, and it was obviously a promotion for something else, but that's just not great advice. It doesn't really make any sense. Like drawing something small, fine, it works for some people, but it's not like a tip or it's not like some like idea, but it is a good promotion for that whatever tattoo school thing website, Fireside Tattoo Network, classes, workshops, and podcasts. Okay. I just want to ask you guys to like and subscribe. We just broke 3,000 subscribers and I couldn't be more stoked. We're trying to make this the biggest and strongest tattoo community on YouTube, bigger than Ink Master, and our next goal is 10,000 subs, so please hit that subscribe button.
Here's how to know if you're allergic to Second Skin or Sanoderm. These products are latex-free and hypoallergenic, so allergic reactions are rare. So before you use Second Skin over a fresh tattoo, you want to cut a sample piece and put this anywhere on the client's body before you start the tattoo. Let it sit on the skin for a little while, and when you come back to it, if there is no rash, redness, or allergic reaction, then you're good to go and you can use this on the tattoo once you're finished.
Man, I'm going to be complaining about companies who are trying to sell things to you. It seems like most of the information is coming from people who have an incentive to sell you something. I personally don't like Sanoderm, Tagaderm, whatever derm. I do not like Second Skin for most clients. Now, for some who really love it, go for it. If you've used it, you like it, it's great, whatever. I'm not harping on like the product itself, but as a tattooer who has to do tattoos on people, and I also have to like let them leave my shop without my supervision, I've seen a lot of allergic reactions or reactions to Second Skin, and that's why I tend not to use it most of the time. Now, if a client's like, I love it, I use it, no problems, wrap me up in it, I'm like, cool, let's do it. Great, it's a great product if it works for you. But it's about the other people who it doesn't work for. And this is giving some sort of solution to the reaction, and it's like, just do a little bit and then you come back to it. And maybe like it will be red and you'll know you have an allergic reaction. Most reactions to Sanoderm don't happen in 20 minutes. Most reactions happen within a couple days. And a lot of these people are like, yeah, leave it on for 5 days. And they have this like red rash that's growing around this Sanoderm. It tends to look like a square or rectangle with right angles in red. And the redness will be super gnarly in those areas. And if you don't know anything about healing a tattoo, you just see the redness and you're like, yeah, it's a tattoo. It's gonna be red a little bit. And they just ignore it. And then they rip off this bandage and they have this like right-angled scar that's blistering and infected and gross, and then they have like a scar that lasts forever because this product had a reaction on them and it messed up not only the tattoo, but their arm or their leg or wherever you put it. So like, I'm not a huge fan of it because I don't think it works for everyone. And when it comes to healing, I think it should just be super easy, super simple. The more simple you can make healing process, the better you're gonna be. And with these types of products, sometimes I'm just like, yeah, there's like a lot of risk involved in this. And I don't particularly love it for the average client.
Tips for people getting tattoos from a tattoo artist.
This is who you listen to, a tatter.
Eat before your appointment. It's very important to have something in your stomach. You know your pain tolerance better than we do. Don't come in here asking for no fat ass tattoo if you know you can't sit for the whole thing.
That is probably the best piece of advice on the internet. A lot of times people sign up for things that they just can't handle. Then they're in a lot of pain and you have to put them through it, and it's just like a pain in the ass. But yeah, that's great.
Whatever area you know you're about to get tattooed, shave it. Save the fun drugs till after the tattoo, okay? It just makes you bleed a whole bunch. Stop using Vaseline and like lotion on your healing tattoos. You need Aquaphor or like Hustle Butter.
I think Aquaphor is a great solution for most tattoos. If you have really big ones, like if you're getting a big traditional panther on your arm, yeah, use some Aquaphor. If you're getting a small dinky little thing, let that thing dry out for a few days. Put a little regular white lotion on some tattoos. I've never known white lotion to hurt tattoos, but maybe she has an issue with that, I don't know.
Or something specifically for tattoos. Stop flirting with your tattoo artist mid-appointment. We're trying to be professional. Don't be weird. Dating a tattoo.
I can say I know a lot of lady tattooers. I know some dude tattooers who get hit on all the time. Yeah, it is kind of awkward. The chances of your tattooer being interested in you is probably slim to none. So, you know, save yourself the embarrassment. Keep your tattooers as a cool tattooer rather than like trying to get laid.
Tattoo artist does not mean free tattoos. Communicate with your artist. This tattoo is going to be on you for the rest of your life, okay? Make sure it's exactly what you want.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. Yeah, communicate. It's where a lot of the biggest issues in tattooing come from, and it's people not communicating. Tattooers not communicating why they don't want to do something, clients not communicating what they want to change, and the results end up being not exactly what anyone wants because communication never happened when it needed to happen. So yeah, communicate with your artist, be patient with your artist. If you're gonna be a tattooer, be patient with the clients, dude. It's not that hard. It's a pretty easy job. If you don't like someone, kick them out.
My top 5 secrets to improve your line work.
Okay, so this stuff is the worst thing on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. Tattooers who don't actually know what they're doing, but they tattoo fake skin and give advice like somehow they know what they're talking about. Almost every single time I've gone and seen something like this and I click to go find their work, it's either non-existent or it's trash. So be careful who you're listening to. If you want to be a tattooer and you're listening to these schmoes, dude, you're doing it wrong. I'm sorry. They are leading you down the wrong path. They don't actually know what they're talking about. Most of them are like barely better than you are. It's almost always garbage advice. I don't think that the technical application of tattooing is very hard. I really don't. I think I could teach almost anyone to do the technical aspect of tattooing relatively fast. But that's not how you become a good tattooer. You become a good tattooer by understanding the different aspects of tattooing, like how to create a design, what needles are we going to be using, what different colors, how to communicate with the clients, how to do all these things, and then you need to learn how to do the actual tattoo. But that comes in time. You're never gonna learn by watching these Joe Schmoes talk about how to do a tattoo. But people watch it because they think that that's all they need to know. It's not. It's really not. Imagine you were getting heart surgery and all they had looked at was some other guy telling them how to do heart surgery, but they never learned what the importance of the heart was. They just saw some guy cut it open, stitch it back together, and they're like, yeah, that probably works. It's like, no, it's a bad idea.
Number 1, let your needle hang well over the amount that needs to penetrate the skin. With a penny being 1.5 millimeters.
That doesn't make any sense. That's not like a universal thing. A lot of people hang their needles super far out. A lot of people don't. And a lot of those people that don't are great tattooers. So here, the first piece of advice doesn't make any sense. It maybe makes sense for him, and it may make sense for doing fake skins. If you've ever had a tattoo of butt cheek and you're spreading that shit out and you got a giant needle hanging out and you're hanging up every second and you just go brah, 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 that doesn't make any sense.
It's good visualization for how much needle you want in the skin. 2, maintaining consistent needle depth. To do this, I recommend having your hand, specifically your palm and fingers, resting on the skin. This way, they act as a depth guide for you.
I don't think that's the reason you're capable of controlling the depth of a needle. And the things you're hearing here only make sense because he's tattooing on a flat surface. The moment you have anything else, it's not gonna work.
Gliding along the skin. Use a little Vaseline on the bottom of your hand and/or fingers.
That's crazy. That's clear to me that this person doesn't understand how to do a tattoo. Look, if I'm pulling a line, I'm tattooing, you know, I'm going for it, and I lubed up this part of my hand, and I'm like going around a curve because every body part curves, and maybe it's on an arm, and I'm just like going around the, slips right out because I lubed up this part of my hand. It makes no sense. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. These people just say words, claim that it's truth, and they have no real understanding of what they're saying. So the next time some kid who watched Joe Smo tell him to lube up his hand, he's like going to do his first tattoo, and he's like, oh, I have to lube this part up, slip, just like not only leave a giant line on my client, jab a needle into my leg. It makes no sense. Be cautious, dudes. I loved y'all. I want this dude to become a tattooer as much as I want anyone to become a tattooer. But I don't like people giving advice on things they don't know, because the results are happening in a garage somewhere, ruining someone else's life.
This way it will slide nicely along the skin. This will help you be stable and pull smooth lines. Number 4, the speed of the machine versus your hand speed. These two things need to be in sync. As long as your voltage matches your hand speed.
This is the last part. I can't watch any more of it. It's all bad advice. Look, again, this only makes sense if you're tattooing fake skin. But like, again, if I was tattooing a back, a thick thigh, a butt cheek, side of a boob, armpit area on an arm, I'm gonna turn that tattoo machine all the way up, and I'm gonna go pretty damn slow, because I want this thing to sink in, and I want it to look nice and crisp. And then if I was tattooing an arm, I'm gonna like turn down the machine a little bit, and I might go faster. So like, it's contradictory to what he's saying. If your machine's going fast, you gotta go fast, but that's not always the case. Sometimes you gotta turn that machine up and go slow. Sometimes you gotta turn the machine down and go fast. None of this makes any sense. And I know that a lot of you wanna be tattooers out here. I just hope you watched this video and you're like, hey, I need to be very cautious about what I'm learning from the internet. And then also, like, if you're a future client, I wouldn't want to get tattooed by someone who either hasn't been tattooing for 10 years or who doesn't have like a mentor who is really involved in their apprenticeship. As a client, like, I feel like that's a fair thing to want. Like, you want your tattooer to have had the best education they possibly can. And if you know that they were learning off of TikTok, bro, you're signing yourself up for some garbage tats.
Are 7 professional tips for tattoo apprentices on how to make realistic portrait tattoos. Practice makes perfect. The more you practice, the better you will become at creating realistic.
What great advice.
Start by practicing on paper or canvas, and then move on to practicing on fake skin. Once you feel confident in your abilities, you can start practicing on real skin. Use high-quality materials. Using high-quality materials will help you achieve the best possible result.
You know, there's a lot of crap in this, obviously, really boring information, but the best possible materials. Let's talk about that for a moment, because I truly believe you can give the best material to a whole bunch of people and they're just gonna do garbage. And really, like, you can try and buy your way into being a good tattooer, but I don't think that's how it works. I think that you give me the world's crappiest tattoo equipment and I'm gonna make a good tattoo, because the tattooer isn't made by the things that they have. It's about who they are and what they've learned through the process of being a tattooer or an apprentice or an artist or whatever.
This includes using high-quality needles, ink, and paper or canvas. Study the human face.
Now, I'm not saying not to buy good materials, because as a tattooer, I think you should. It's just like, I don't think that that's good advice for the average person. It's nothing. It's like just saying something to say something.
The more you know about the human face, the better you will be able to recreate it in your tattoos. Study anatomy books, photographs, and even real people to learn.
There's some actual good advice in there. Okay, I'm skipping.
New advice, because them shits hurt.
I have literally grown to hate this sound. So here's my advice on tattoos and what I wish people told me before I went to get tattoos, especially the long sessions. This shit hurts, and it hurts a lot. Anyone who says, oh, I like the feeling of tattoos, no, you don't, okay? It fucking sucks. Maybe you got one little word and it said like beautiful or something on it and it didn't hurt. When you're doing 4, 5, 6 hour, 10 hour sessions, that shit hurts. I've been in the
That is some real advice right there. I hear so many people tell me like, oh, I actually like the way that almost no one has ever said that after they got tattooed. Everyone says that leading up to it. Everyone says it when they walk through the door. No one says it afterwards. Some of the goofiest people will be walking around being like, I love getting tattooed. No, you probably don't. When it's all said and done and you're sitting here in so much pain, you probably don't. There's only a tiny, tiny fraction of people who actually enjoy it. And those people probably enjoy it a little too much. You know, one time I was tattooing a guy, you know, and I was like, damn, he enjoys getting tattooed. Yeah, probably not that guy. I hope you're not that guy.
Alright, tattoo shop etiquette rule number 3. Now this is just my personal preference. If you're the kind of person...
Shout outs to Buddy Loves Tattoos. I see him a lot on TikTok. Real tattooer, does tattoos, sick. I'm stoked about it.
Flash, that's cool. That's my favorite, but if you're not down for that, that's absolutely fine. Don't come in with absolutely no clue what you want to do. Say that you're down for literally anything, but then really you're not. So I go draw your skull because that's what I want to do, and you said you're down for it, and I come back down and you don't really want that. Okay, cool. Well, alright, what about an eagle? No, I don't really want that either. Okay, sweet. You see how this works now? Like, we're going to be here forever. Come in with a general idea.
That's super good advice. I get that occasionally where someone will be like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, you probably don't want to do what I want to do. Like, just being real honest, you probably don't want an eyeball in a chair and a piece of rock that's like overflowing with ocean. You probably don't want that. Like the weird crap I want to tattoo, most people don't want to get. Come in with a general idea, something rough. Say, give me 5 options. I want either like a girl head, or I want a sacred heart, or I want a dagger. I don't know, you pick. And I'd be like, cool, let's run it. I'll do whichever one of those I want to do most. Perfect. But if you just come to me and you're like, I want whatever, be like, well, I don't know what you want. Can't pinpoint anything, so give me something. I always have to like pull it out of them. And it's just one of those things that like, just skip that part. But if you want to just get tattoo flash, that's cool. If you just want my own personal flash, I got books full of them. Most people don't, but hey, let's run it.
Tip on how I tattoo straight lines.
Okay, personally, I just don't value people telling people how to make a tattoo, like the technical application. It's just not that useful. It's just not. Let's listen to what he's gonna say.
I like to pull away from myself. A lot of people teach point inward. I think it gives less damage to the skin by angling the machine a little bit away from you and actually pulling away from you. And when you move to a different side of the line, move your whole position.
Look, that's not technically bad advice. He's a tattooer, great tattooer. He knows what he's doing. Not bad advice. But pulling away or pushing a needle is a pretty difficult thing to do. It's not like super easy. It's not something people just understand right away. I didn't push my first needles for like, I don't know, first year or two. And then I started like, oh, hey, I could push this a little bit more. Pulling a needle is a much easier task for most people. And a lot of tattooers never push needles. So like for him to be like saying like, oh yeah, that's the way to do it. You should do it this way. Not really. It's better advice than like lubing up your entire body and doing some tats, but still like you can argue against it. And I will, I just will. Like I'll push back on it because it doesn't make that much sense to be teaching people to do that. Okay, last video.
To become a tattoo artist, y'all better come prepared with a bomb portfolio.
Tons of you ask about portfolios. I gotta be honest with you. I've never had a portfolio. Never used a portfolio. Anytime anyone's ever brought a portfolio to a tattoo shop I was in, it generally doesn't get looked at very much. So let me give you my best advice if you want to become a tattooer, if you want to become an apprentice. Try and become a shop hand first. Everyone loves a person who works hard, and if you go to a shop and you work hard for a couple years, hey, you might become a tattooer. I know that's probably not what you want to hear. You want the certainty of me to be like, hey, you do this, you get this. It doesn't really work like that. Try and get in the best way you can, and from that in, do your job well. And if you can do your job well, then hey, you've got a good shot at becoming a tattooer. And that's just my experience. I know tons of shops who are always hiring apprentices, always teaching, you know, whatever. Look, if you like traditional tattoos, repaint old flash. If you can repaint a Sailor Jerry piece of flash really well, you got a good shot of getting the attention of a tattooer. You know, you bring me a bunch of stuff that, you know, you're like, oh, this is my art. Chances are I'm gonna fucking hate it. Almost always. Every time anyone's brought me stuff, I'm like, I hate it, don't like it. Don't like it, don't think it makes a good tattoo, it's your art, whatever. Very few apprentices are that good at making art. Creating something worth showing a tattooer takes a long time, and very few times you're gonna be that impressed. So yeah, chances are you're probably not that great of an artist, or you'd be an artist instead of a tattooer. That's just like kind of the reality of it. So if you are trying to build a portfolio, just repaint old flash, especially if you're trying to get into an old school tattoo shop. I hope this was helpful. I hope we debunked some of this garbage that's out there in the world. I appreciate you. I'll see you in a few days.